Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk with Saieed Ali. I am your host, Saieed Ali. So here it is. Here it is now, viewers. We're going straight into it one time. Caribbean Airline has confirmed that the airline transported 20,000 doses of the Seroform COVID-19 vaccine from Toronto to Guyana on Tuesday, 2nd March 2021. So Guyana have received 20,000 dosage of COVID-19 vaccine. You hear that? 20,000 doses Guyana gets. And we still waiting. Markland Mosley, General Manager of Cargo and New Business, stated that Caribbean Airline was happy to have transported this important shipment. Mosley stated that the Caribbean Airline Cargo will continue to do its part in the movement of relief supplies throughout the region. Throughout the pandemic, Caribbean Airline Cargo have supported or has supported the transportation of essential goods within and outside the Caribbean. What is our health minister doing? You know, after we talked about they have to pay $504,000 US for COVID-19 vaccine. And then here in Anson McCall will give 6,000 of his employees and their friends and their close families COVID-19 vaccine. I have been wondering, is the private sector of Trinidad and Tobago going to purchase vaccines for their workers? Trinidad and Tobago, I want to hear you tonight. How many of you will get vaccinated from the health centers if the private sector have decided to purchase vaccine for its employees? Yes, we talked about it already, but did it sink into you that our tax-paying dollars are going to pay for that, while the private entities will be able to purchase it? Have you all sat and think about this? I want to hear from you. 2386716. Call in. Let me hear your thoughts on it. Because our tax-paying dollars is going to purchase this vaccine. And I have been wondering if the public sector decides to buy this vaccine for their employees, would the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago really get vaccinated? Have you ever sat down and think about it? Have you? So while you're thinking about that, the Act to amend the Tobago House of Assembly bill have been passed in the Senate. The bill will see the Election and Boundaries Commission redraw Tobago's election district so as to increase the number of THA seats from 12 at present to 15 to prevent a repeat of a tie. Just before midnight, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi moved to have the bill read a third time, as it was then passed with 16 votes in favor, 14 votes against, and none to abstain. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley also met with Tobago assemblymen in Tobago earlier today. Meanwhile, opposition Senator Anil Roberts may be referred to the Privilege Committee for Privilege Committee of the Senate for statements he made during a show about the Senate President Christine Kangaloo. The motion was brought during the Senate sitting yesterday by leader of the government business, Franklin Khan. Hey, watch me, it's only Real Talk is bringing the best of Parliament, you know. That is why we became the third, because we bring you events that happen in Parliament. We bring you the real sauce. You don't have sauce doubles? To the original owner of sauce doubles, good night to you, my friend. I know you're locked on and listening. So good night to you and the family. We bring you the substance of the motions and the bills that they want to put in place for you, the citizens. For you, the citizens. How many of you will be able to get a COVID-19 vaccine? Ask yourself that. If companies decide to buy COVID-19 vaccine for their workers, how lucky are you to get vaccinated? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. So we're supposed to have Mr. Anil Roberts on the line in the next 10 minutes or so. There's some questions that I want to ask him. Caller, good night.
Good night. I wonder if I could get this thing where they give it in.
Take your time, Tanti. Take your time and talk and we will hear you.
I want kidney and I can't walk.
One knee?
I'm 71 years. Babu number 2.
Take her information now. Just take her information and we'll call her back tomorrow. Moms, I do apologize. I did not hear clearly what you said, but they will take your information. Wassa consumers without water. Hey! How many of you got Morbies and orange juice in the line? Throughout Trinidad and Tobago. How many of you? The Water and Surge Authority will now be taking legal action against a contractor for illegally dumping material into a stream that empties into the Carney water treatment plant. How many of you throughout Trinidad and Tobago got Morbi or orange juice from Wassa Pipe? Feel free to call in. This after more than 300,000 consumers had their water supply disrupted yesterday. A press release issued by Wassa stated that the issue appeared due to an illegal discharge upstream of the intake to the plant. Responding to the issue, Minister of Utilities Marvin Gonzalez denied that there was any sabotage at the plant and that such dumping was a breach of the Environmental Management Authority's rules. Wassa stated that of 1 p.m. today, operations at the Carney Water Treatment Plant have begun normalized and assured that the water being produced at the plant is safe and meets the WHO standard. Caller, good night.
Hi, good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead.
Wonderful program again.
Thank you.
Saeed, this regime that we have in power in Trinidad does not want the citizens of this country to be inoculated with the COVID virus treatment. because we do not know if they have ever ordered any medicine at all, any of the treatment.
I understand.
Because they lie so much, because they say they would have ordered and none, they have their hands out begging every agency. Now this government, we are in such a precarious position because they want to rule every man's brain in Trinidad.
Yes.
That is what they want to do, to keep it as long as possible. Guyana has a new government and they have adopted a policy of opening the borders. How many deaths have incurred in Guyana?
True.
Less than 200 deaths. The same amount of the ratio in Trinidad, they have the same amount of infected people, 8,000, we have 8,000.
Yes.
What is this government really doing with our country? Why are they having the people in such a manner? They are encouraging all the banditry, all the kidnapping, all the murders, because they're turning a blind eye because of the 1% directive that has been given to them to loosen guns and drugs into the country and let black people kill each other while they pilfer our treasury.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Re-registration for Venezuelan migrants. Minister of National Security Stuart Young have stated that the government has made a decision that re-registration will be allowed for Venezuelans who were registered in 2019. He stated that the exercise will run from March 8 to March 26, 2021 and is aimed at updating information over the 16,000 Venezuelans.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago has decided, and Cabinet has decided, that we will allow a re-registration, or rather an updating of information with those Venezuelans who participated in the original Venezuelan registration of migrants scheme, which was done sometime back in 2019. As you all would recall, at the time in 2019, what we had said as a government is we took a decision, a humanitarian decision really, because it's our brothers and sisters in Venezuela. All who were here in Trinidad and Tobago, whether you came in legally or illegally, come forth and register. We all know that's all history now, and we had approximately 16,500 odd Venezuelans who were registered at the time.
Caller, good night.
Hello, good night, Said.
Go right ahead.
When I look at the Allen show this evening, I see these people crying and bawling in America to come back home. A man eating from a garbage bin in Miami when people don't eat and throw out a Trinidadian, and then getting up and moving. It is sad to know, and they want to make these people pay for quarantine here in these big-time hotels. Most of these people pay health surcharge already. Health surcharge. It's sad, but the vengeance and Moko go take Stuart Young and Rowley and them.
Thank you, my friend. Now listen this. I had a friend who had to go for a doctor checkup in Miami. And she wrote the Ministry of National Security, got her exemption, left Trinidad and Tobago, and when time to come back into Trinidad, she could not get the exemption from this government to come back into Trinidad. And she went on a checkup because she did an operation on her eyes. She called me, she said, Saeed, my due date to come back have passed because I could not get an exemption from the present Minister of National Security office. And her money ran out. So what is she to do? I believe she's still waiting on exemption. And she went for medical purposes. Question on whether the government will consider granting a longer extension that gives TNT borders, given TNT borders remain closed. Young stated that the government policy at this time is a 6-month cycle only.
Thank you very much for that question. The answer is no. At this time, this is the government's policy. We're doing it in a 6-month cycle. I don't predict the future. So it may be in the future we may take a different decision, but at this stage we still continue to maintain a 6-month cycle is what we're going with. So this now is the largest re-registration we've done outside of the original registration.
Now viewers, Young emphasized that the Venezuelans who are not currently registered will not be allowed to do so in the upcoming exercise. He further stated that several registration cards had to be cancelled in which Venezuelan nationals wanted to return to their countries, while others had to be deported in a light of criminal offense. Hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You see, when you see Venezuelans going back to Venezuela from Trinidad, know that things bad in Trinidad. Take what I'm telling you. Know that things bad in Trinidad. Know that things bad. Anytime you see Venezuelans leaving Trinidad to go back home, it's because things getting hard in Trinidad. And if you see Guyanese leaving here to go back to Guyana, tell yourself, Guyana getting better than Trinidad. Let me tell you something. I ain't bad talking Trinidad, you know. I'm born in Trinidad, I grew up in Trinidad, and I have business in Trinidad. But I'm talking about the situation that our country is going through presently. Can we run from Trinidad? Run and go where? Run and go where? Where do Saieed run and go? Which country does Saieed run and go by? Where? Caller, good night.
Hi, good night.
Go right ahead.
No, just listening to the conversation, but you know, the Venezuelans when them left their country to come here because things was really bad. Some of them take up a canoe, if I should call it that, to get here. But to go back, they got a plane. Most of them got a plane to go back. If things so bad in Venezuela, how come their government sending a plane to pick them up and bring them back? Trinidad is the, what is that called, boy?
The hub?
Oh God, something in the Caribbean they just call it.
The hub of the
Right?
Caribbean.
But we have people outside and it's like, nobody not hearing, nobody not listening, nobody not even thinking about this situation that they're in, how to assist, you know. At least from what I'm saying here, it's bad because you have to find your way, you have to book a hotel for how much money. These people outside there, and it's difficult. I'm a diabetic.
No, here is a caller. Things so bad in Venezuela, right? But the government sending a plane in Trinidad to pick
them up.
Their citizens.
Yes.
Did Trinidad send a plane to the U.S.?
They could afford to, but I don't know where is the problem.
Did Trinidad send a plane to Canada?
No, they ain't sending nothing. They ain't sending nothing, no way. And apparently only particular people could come and go.
Caller, did Trinidad and Tobago government send a plane for the farmers in Canada?
No.
You see?
Because I know somebody who was working outside there in Canada. Yeah.
Thank you, caller. You see, so these are the things that we Trinidadians looking at. Just imagine Venezuelan chaos and their president send a plane, and watch me, we government asked Biden to remove the restrictions so that the plane could land in Trinidad. But we wouldn't ask Biden, the newly elected president of the United States of America. The government would not ask Biden, can you assist us with a plane from the United States to repatriate our citizens to Trinidad? Could you help us out with that? But instead he asked for the sanction to be lifted from a plane. Just imagine that. Just imagine that. That is where you call caring government. Where's the Minister of Foreign Affairs? You know, when I'm dealing with our next country, I just like to talk about the Minister of Foreign Affairs because that is his job. That is his job. I waited to hear Franklin Khan. Viewers, watch me. I waited to hear Franklin Khan debate on the LPG cooking gas. That is what I'm waiting to hear. It seems like I'll forget. So I just reminding all you. Remember the debate was supposed to go into the House of Representatives. The debate? Well, I'm waiting. Now, haven't you heard anything? I'm waiting. Because right now it's $28. The economy dropping. Growth done going down. US currency hard to get now. Somebody called me and said, Saeed, I'm looking for US currency to buy. I paid $9. I said, how much? He said $9. I said, why $9? He said, Saeed, because I offered $8 and I ain't getting. I said, wow. I said, wow. A guy called me yesterday. Yesterday he said, Saeed, I went into a bank. He went into a bank and asked the teller for nothing more or nothing less than $100 US bill. 100 to pay an invoice bill. And the teller asked him. The teller said first, no, you can't get it. Why you can't get it? So the guy asked, why can't I get it? He said, because you do not have a business account. He said, okay. So he produced his documents, his business documents. And he had an account with the bank. So he said, well, this is my business account. And I have money in my account. You could check. So she said, well, you did not have an invoice. So he said, well, okay. And he presented his invoice. And the woman said, you still cannot get it. So he was like, why you can't get it? I say, you can't get it? 100 US. $100 US bill. And he couldn't get it. To clear an invoice. And he's a businessman. He is a businessman in Trinidad and Tobago. And he could not get $100 bill to clear an invoice. Just imagine that. Just imagine that, Trinidad and Tobago. So when you tell yourself, right foot you go get work and left foot you go buy more groceries, it's not so now. It's right foot, hold on to your job, left foot groceries price going up. Navin? Like football here. When you hear somebody shoot a ball, you have to trap it, you know. In this case, let me tell you something, you know what you have to do? When you hear that ball come, you have to lie down in the ground and catch it and hug it up. Because if that ball slip, that's your job where it slipped there. Let me tell you something, I just love to come here every night, you know. Being on television, it gave me a passion to bring real sources and real news to you, you know. Real facts to you, the citizens, you know. Because all the time you wasn't getting that. That is why we became the third best news forecast in Trinidad. If I had a little money like them big giants and them, I sure would have come second. But someday God will bless me. God is good. Minister of National Security, Stuart Young, is calling on citizens. Listen to this, Listen to this, Minister of National Security, Stuart Young, is calling on citizens and the opposition to support the anti-gang bill when it is brought back to Parliament on Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. Will you hear that? He urges the public to hold the opposition senators to account for the passage of the bill. Caller, good night.
Hi, good night, Sayeed.
Go right ahead.
Yes, concerning the U.S., I'm just a citizen. I want to know how we, the citizens, cannot get U.S., right? And the government, ministers, and wives and families have no problem in getting U.S.
Well said, my friend, well said. Mr. Young stated that the public should use the momentum that it has been building over the past several weeks to assist police in fighting crime, and that there is no replacement for the provisions of the bill. He also called on the judiciary and defense attorneys to assist the police in carrying out their jobs and bringing justice to citizens. Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith also stated that he agreed with Young, called and appealed to the public to lobby for more aggressive legislations to tackle gangs. Let me tell you something. It was last year or year before we was pushing for the anti-gang legislation. I believe it was the year before. 2019. 2020, at the end of 2019, we got it passed. Got it passed. So I'm going to tell you this now. You do not need an anti-gang legislation bill for the police to hold an individual. If there is constant raid and constant roadblocks every weekend, every fortnight, guns will be off the streets. Bringing no bail for firearm. No bail for illegal firearm, and you will get guns off the street. Run down drug dealers. Run down drug dealers. TTPS have the authority. And we will get drugs off the street. Chase down human traffickers, and it will decline. This is what I have been analyzing over the last couple of months. TTPS needs to chase them down in order to fix it. Caller, good night.
Good night.
Go right ahead, you're live on Real Talk.
Great. Good night, Saeed, first time caller, okay?
Welcome to Real Talk, my dear. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Las Lomas.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, I watch your program every night. Last week I went to the bank to draw some money from states. From not the bank, from what do you call it?
Western Union?
Western Union.
Okay.
And this is the second time I've been going to withdraw the money. The woman asking me, who sent the money? Okay, I know you have to give the name. Hear what she's asking me. What that person is to me. It's not that fastness.
Let me tell you, I went numerous times to collect money from Western Union. And the amount of questions they're asking you.
So this second time I told her, I said, let me tell you something. When in America, people sending down money here, they don't ask who you're sending it to and what that person name. You just get the person name, what that person is to you. Yes. So why are you asking me that? Right? I said, well, let me tell you something. I got stuck here. I'm American citizen. But you see, what I did, I show her my Trinidad ID. But next time I'm going back, because I need money to stay down here because I get stuck. Yes. Right? And so next time I'm going to use my American passport. And when she tells me something, I am going to the American Council to know what it is going on here. I will fix them.
But have you applied for an exemptions to go back to the U.S.?
Not really yet. Not really. I'm watching some things before I go back up. I don't want to go too much right now until where I am from is Los Angeles, and I don't want to go into it right now because it's it's kind of tough right there now.
Okay,
of my age, I'm over 70.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for viewing us, my dear. Commissioner of Police also stated that he agreed with Young. The United States has contributed $750,000 to redevelop a historic building at the TGPS Academic into a new crime scene simulation facility. The embassy stated that the new facility will enable investigators to sharpen their skill in typical environment where crime occurs. It also believes that the investment will contribute to additional arrests, better collection of evidence, and more successful prosecutions. Meanwhile, the contribution was the latest from the U.S. according to the embassy. Over $10 million in security assistance has been provided to the TNT government in the past or the last 5 years. $10 million. This assistance includes training, monitoring equipment, and even working canines to help build the crime-fighting capacity of the TTPS service and the Defense Force. Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night, good night.
Go right ahead, you're live on Real Talk.
Yeah, Saeed, what I want to say just when you said about the police and that the city public must have the police and solve the problems and things. Now I understand all that. But why have a lot of drugs on the streets and guns and things? It have a certain set of people that are not going to tell you that they're bringing container cocaine and guns in this country and letting it go on the streets for the small people to be fighting one another and killing one another. They're working for them. Most of the big people above.
Thank you, my friend. A 20-year-old man was granted $100,000 bail after he appeared in court charged with 1 count of sexual penetration and 1 count of false imprisonment. On July 1st, 2019, the accused allegedly advanced a neighbor, offering him $100 to perform a sex act. When the neighbor refused and tried to walk away, the man allegedly held onto the victim's hand and told him he was not allowed to leave. The victim was then allegedly held against his will in a locked room where the act occurred. The accused appeared today before a Shoguna's magistrate, who also ordered him to stay 300 meters from the victim. He is expected to reappear before the court on March 29th. Caller, good night.
Hi, good night,
Go right
Saeed.
ahead.
I'd like to say this is what the most citizens, I should say, wanted because they voted PNM, number one. We could have had a change 8 months ago. Secondly, we cannot expect the TTPS to solve a lot of crimes in this country if it is they are also corrupted. That is the problem.
Well said.
All right, we have corruption, top, bottom, right, left, back, front. The country is really in a bad state, and I don't know how we can make things right. The few of us that wanted to change, there are many of us that apparently doesn't want it to change.
Thank you, my dear. You see, at one point in time, Trinidad and Tobago were crying out, candlelight vigil every night. Every night. What happened? What changed? Everything settled down, the dust is settled now, the storm have passed, the calm have reached, and everybody calmed down. Everybody calm down. Caller, good night.
Good night, Said.
My friend.
I personally believe a man who have an unlicensed gun, he's supposed to get life in prison. A rapist supposed to get life in prison. So what is the big thing? When you hold people, give them life. Because when a man have an unlicensed gun, he means to kill just so. He means to rape, he means to do everything. Rob people, everything.
Thank you, my friend. Viewers, feel free to call in, share your comments. A series of raids early on Wednesday led to the arrest of 2 persons and a seizure of a quantity of marijuana. During 2 exercises, the Port of Spain Task Force executed a search warrant at a home along El Socorro Extension. There, 407 grams of marijuana were discovered and 2 persons were detained in connection with the find. In another incident, officers acting on information went to a location in Silots where a search was conducted in a bushy area and a quantity of marijuana was found and seized. The drugs weighed 1.2 kilograms. Currently, the law allows any adult to have 4 marijuana plants at their household and to be in possession of no more than 30 grams of the drugs. We have a law. We have our legislation. You have 30 grams to work with. I push for it. Or you get it. Use it for medical purpose. And still you're abusing it. Still you're abusing it. What more do you want? This is what I ask sometimes. What more do you want? What more do you want? 2386716. We have about 17 minutes left on our show tonight. Voice your concern. It's Public Concerns Night. Public Concerns Night. Voice your complaint. Let Trinidad and Tobago and the wider world hear what is taking place in your community. Have you gotten better roads? Have you gotten better representation? Is your councillor coming in the area and visiting you? Caller, good night.
A very good evening to you, Mr. Saeed.
To you, my friend.
And that answer is no, but I have something critically important to pass on to everybody in the country.
Go ahead.
Are you familiar with the corner Churchill and Freeman Road in St. Augustine?
Not really, but
okay,
go ahead.
Okay, as soon as you cross the bridge, the road on your right, when you go straight up is the Bransford corner.
Okay.
Right, so there's a group of fellas in the night. Like all around 10, 11, 12, I am advising people do not use that road, use the highway.
Okay.
These guys are pelting objects at your vehicle, bursting your windscreen and whatnot, hoping that you would stop. Only to rob you. It happened to quite a few people already. And I would like everybody to pay attention and take note.
What is the name of the street again?
At the corner of Churchill and Freeman Road, St. Augustine. That is south of the highway.
Okay. Thank you, my friend, for the information.
Okay, all the best. Thanks.
Thanks. So, viewers, you heard that. August was the election last year. August. September, October, November, December, January, February, we start in March. 7 months. 7 months into the new administration. It's not like they have to settle down. They were already there. They know what is taking place. 7 months into the government, re-elected into power. Have you seen your councillor? Have you seen your MPs? Have you gotten response from them? Caller, good night.
Good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead, you're live on Real Talk.
Well, I'll be watching your program right through. Saeed, you just mentioned that the candlelight vigil and whatnot, it abated right now. But I remember in the beginning too, also on your program you mentioned you would continue with something on your program, or so we'll get some people and we'll have some sort of gathering, a meeting or something. So I want to find out. I don't mind. Kamala could write India, she could write America, she could write Russia, she should write all of them, right? But here I want to ask, why them can't come up? We want the death penalty side. If you hold a meeting, the candlelight meeting they had in Tagariga for Andre, it had over 15,000 people. I was there. Why we can't hold a referendum on we own and call this whole of Trinidad side who it is could do this, boy? Let me get a few people and form a committee. We want the death penalty and let Kamala and Rao come now, boy. We want to hang some fellas, boy. What it is keeping back this? What is keeping back this side, boy? Whole time they're talking about all other things but the death penalty. Kamala and them don't want to make a referendum on that because maybe they will lose the election, brother. But they will win, boy, for that, boy. One party, only one man has to say, let we go with for square, let we go around Savannah and hold a meeting. We want to see a mass gathering in this country. So I crying out, I always crying out. Nobody wants to come up with that. No government, nobody bringing up that side. Let me tell you something. I call in your program. It have an issue I wish Kamala and them could bring up. You know how much old people now finding on that mattress. You know, old people that leave money on that.
Yes.
They come back. People who come back, they have $100 bills. Nobody saying the people want, they're asking the central bank. Now they bring out a next of a new note, this note. But they still, and already say that they have $500 million outside. Why they can't get that money into the bank and get new notes? Kamala and no state, no, nothing. I never hear none of them talk about these old people. And people that they tell them, they have people have real money. A lady come back, she have $40,000. And they say, no, they can't, central bank not. Why nobody? But the main thing side, we want a referendum to hang people. And somebody have to say, let's get the lawyer. I see the lawyer fighting for the two fellas who get killed for Andrea. But they are fighting for no Christians and them, boy. What can we really do? You have a platform where you start maybe noise side to raise the awareness. We want the death penalty reinstated in this country within 3 months.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You know why they wouldn't bring up the death penalty? You know why they would not introduce it? Because of human rights. I have said on many occasions, they're talking about human rights. Human rights. What about the victim? Lawyers will debate human rights. What about the victim? So this is one of the main reasons why they would not bring it. They would not. So my friends and followers of Real Talk with Saieed Ali, in Trinidad and Tobago, 7 months into the administration of the PNM government, how many of you have gotten representatives from your constituency? Fix road, check street light, make sure you're getting water, make sure the agable in the community is taken care of. How many of you have seen your councillors and your MPs? Feel free to call in. Call from the constituency. Whatever constituency you're from, call and say. Call and say, because that is your rights. You voted for somebody. You didn't vote for nobody. You voted for somebody because on August the 10th you went and you cast your vote. You went and you cast your vote. 7 months into the government. Have you seen your MP? Have you seen your councillor? What did they do for your community or your constituency in the past? 7 months. Could some people from the constituencies throughout Trinidad and Tobago call in and say what they got? Anybody? Moruga, Point 14, Sandy Grande, Central, Princess Tongue. So viewers, we have on the line tonight Mr. Anil Roberts. My friend.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Thou art fine, and how are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. Just coming up from south on the highway. Speaking to a lot of citizens. While we are happy to be alive, the country is not.
Hello?
Have to take a positive out of that.
Pull on the shoulder and pack up for 5 minutes.
So it's all right. We have Bluetooth. We're in the car with Bluetooth, so
well
hands-free. Everything is all right.
Well done. So my friend, I have 2 questions for you. What are your views given? What are your views given that the act to amend the Tobago House of Assembly bill have now been passed? What is your personal view on that?
Well, it is clear to all now, whether you vote PNM, whether you vote UNC, whether you're independent, or whether you believe that politics is not important, that Keith Christopher Rowley, the recusal twins, Faris Al-Rawi, and the PNM are a clear, unadulterated dictatorship. They have come to the parliament to control the EBC. They have thwarted the constitution. They've used their majority to uphold their policy of tyranny of the majority over the minority. And Tobago has once again been disrespected. The electorate has been disrespected. The people have been disrespected. And our democracy is all but lost.
Now, my second question to you. Listen to this carefully. The bill will cease that the Election and Boundaries Commission redraw Tobago electoral district so as to increase the number of THA seats from 12 to 15 to prevent the repeat of any ties. What do you think about that now, coming to the 2021 general election?
Well, first and foremost, let's not put the cart before the horse. Section 7112 of the Constitution states categorically and clearly in English that the EBC takes instruction from nobody or no group. So if the EBC proceeds after Faris Al-Rawi, a la recusal, a la Taipans, a la rental, and Keith Christopher Rowley proclaim this law, if the EBC follows it, the EBC should be disbanded. All members should resign, as they would have acquiesced to take instructions from the executive arm of the government, and they are not to do that. Whether it was UNC in government, PNM, or any other government, the EBC is a constitutional, independent body and should never take instruction from any government, parliament, any bill, or any attorney general.
Well said. My friend, I do want to thank you for taking the time out to join with us on Real Talk with Saieed Ali to share your views coming to what you've just said on the Election and Boundaries Commission.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the delay.
That's
okay.
Any
time. And good evening to all of your viewers. Be safe. And hopefully we will get some vaccines, as we are the most delinquent country on the planet with application for vaccines. Another example of total incompetence.
Thank you, my friend, and be safe on the road.
Thank you. God bless.
So you hear that, Trinidad and Tobago? They went and they moved the motion. They went and they moved it to increase it from 12 to 15 to prevent a repeat of any tie. Great is your government that is running Trinidad and Tobago. When the election came around in 2020, how many seats were created by the PNM administration on the West? How many seats were created on the West of Trinidad? Did you all see the map? Did you all see the map on election night? It's like Trinidad were from the county of St. Davis, go straight down. From the east and from the west. From St. Davis, it's like from Central, go straight down, were in yellow. And where in Trinidad and Tobago were you seeing red? Where did they want 9 seats from? Could you all recall? But they're moving the motion now to amend it from 12 seats to 15 seats for the THA, so they wouldn't have a tie again. Kola, good night.
Good night, Mr. Ali.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Ali, if I tell you something, you must believe me. I get so fed up with this government. If I could get anybody to come in this cemetery 12 o'clock in the night to invoke something.
I want to let you understand carefully. They moved to amend. They moved to amend a bill, and it have been passed in the Senate. It have been passed to increase the number of THA seats from 12 to 15 to prevent a repeat of a tie. I will leave a little think about that. So if I were to ask you a question, in how many areas in Tobago, or how many community or constituency that divided Tobago did they went against the government? How many constituencies divided in Tobago that went against the government? And find out why they moved from 12 to 15 for the THA. Find out that. So viewers, we have about 1 minute left on our show for tonight. About 1 minute left. It gave me great pleasure to come here every night to educate you and to open your eyes and your ears so that you would understand what is taking place in our country. For you to understand that. Let me tell you something. The past cannot fix the present. Remember this. The past cannot fix the present. And if you allow the spoil of the past into the present, it will upset the future to come. Remember, Saieed Ali tell you that. The spoil of the past will spoil your present and it will upset your future. But if you leave the past in the past and build something new in the present, you will benefit in the future. Allahumma soroba al-kada illa sunto. For this I have given to you a new dream every night. Lama zarkaba ola anta, so you will not dwell on the past. Sabakuri kaba ina la uzu unta, but you will dream a dream of tomorrow. Why a dream of tomorrow? So that you can benefit from tomorrow. Until we meet again, good night.